Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be making a bowl using a color design that I've been using to create a new body of work. But making this bowl in particular didn't exactly go as planned. Before we get started, go ahead and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and now we can head to the studio and we'll go ahead and get started.
We got it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. He's going here. Get the bigger one on the left, I think. Woo!
So my brother picked up a small chunk of color out of our color oven. That box has been preheated to about 1,000 degrees and takes about an hour to get that hot. So we preheat our color so that when we move it over to the hotter chamber, it doesn't crack or anything. And now I'm going to get a little bit of glass out of our clear furnace. This furnace is a little bit hotter. It's about 2,000 degrees on the inside, and it holds about 700 pounds of clear glass at one time.
All right.
So now that we have our clear glass, we're going to cool it down and shape it with this wooden block tool that I have. And here in just a moment, I'm going to blow into the pipe, I'll cap it with my thumb, and an air bubble will emerge right out of the tip of my pipe.
Just like that.
Okay, so now we have our starter bubble, and I'm going to start to cool it down so that it's nice and cold and we can get that hot piece of color my brother has, and we'll drape it across it. This is what's called a color overlay. You see my brother shaping up that glass that we have on the end of his pipe, and here in just a moment he'll heat it up and we'll drop it right on top of my bubble.
This is green. I thought it was purple. Yeah, I thought it was purple.
So now that we have our color applied, we're going to try to smooth it out across my clear bubble. The glass is nice and hot, and I want to spread it across while my bubble is still pretty cold, so I only have a small amount of time before my bubble starts to heat up again that I can spread that hot glass color across it. And now we'll go in for our second gather of glass. So we're going to get one more after this, but now we can start the inflation process. So we encase the color in another layer of clear, and then we'll start to inflate it a little bit. We'll go back and get our last layer, and then we'll start to be able to make our piece.
It's like people need those like quick little
People like.
things.
All right.
So if you guys watch our channel a lot, you've probably seen me use this tool multiple times. This is our newspaper tool. I think it's a pretty cool one. It's about 12 sheets of newspaper folded up and soaked in water, and basically I can manipulate the expansion of the bubble when my brother blows through it by cooling down certain sections that I don't want to inflate. So now we're going to add our color design. I have my base color on the piece. My brother is going to pick up some canes, which are these small little lengths of glass that I pre-made and heated up to the same temperature as that color from the beginning. So he's going to heat these up in the glory hole and try to keep them together so they don't kind of overlap and become a ball. We want it to stay a nice kind of straight length, and then once it's hot enough, we're going to drape it across the glass. So now I'm going to gear up to get that last gather of glass, and I'll get my new gather and I'll come out, and this is what we call a strip gather. So I'm actually going to go vertical and get rid of all the excess glass that I don't need into this bucket.
See? Picked up crap out of the furnace.
Alright, so that went really well. So now all we have to do is melt that glass that we just added into the base, and then we'll have our final design. I really like how this looks in the end. I've made a few other pieces like this. It always reminds me of like a lasso, like a piece of rope, or like an old snake skin that's been shed off. I think it looks really cool. It adds a lot of striations and just kind of changes the whole design of the piece.
Luke, I'll need air. Luke, I'll need air. Give me some air. On. Off. Woo. Okay. On. Off. Full jack line. Yes, yes, yes.
So now that we've expanded and inflated the piece quite a bit, we can put in our jack line. So I'm going to take my tool called the jacks, these kind of large tweezers right here, and we're going to put a small indentation right off the tip of my pipe. Eventually, we'll have to transfer this to a second pipe so that we can finish the piece, and this is going to be the line that we break it off of my blowpipe on.
Yeah, air.
You have to put the jack line into the piece at a certain time, or else you won't be able to do it later in the process. So now that we have the jack line in, we can start to inflate the piece to its final shape, and then we'll be able to move forward.
Okay, on. Blow, blow, blow. All right. Of course it touched back.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does, but it's touched back. We'll do that one more time. All right. Give me some air. On. Off. Blow again. Off.
So now that we put a bottom on the piece, it's time for that transfer. So my brother's going to take a thick punty rod over here, get a small bit of glass on the tip, and we'll use it as like a piece of glue to attach to the bottom of the piece. Then we can break it off on that little jack line we put in earlier, and we'll have it flipped over on the new piece. This is what we call the punty transfer.
I'm still hot. Woo! So hot right now. All right, ready?
All right, so we've got the piece flipped over. That was a great transfer. Those transfers can be kind of sketchy sometimes. They always kind of, if the piece is going to break, that's usually when it's going to break. So it's always a good thing when it goes well. But now we'll inflate the piece a little bit with this Sophietta tool that I'm about to use, and it'll round out all those edges. This will inflate the piece from the inside. So we're going to use this once or twice more, and then we'll finally be able to get to finishing off the bowl.
Oh my God. Okay. You gonna take a heat for me? See what happened.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So now it's time for the final move. We're going to heat up the top half of the bowl, and here in just a moment, when it gets nice and hot, I'm going to start spinning. It's going to get nice and wide, and we'll let gravity kind of give it these ruffles. This is what we call a floppy bowl.
Cool.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
It's cool.
All right, Luke, we're gonna knock it now. Well, actually,
So now our piece is basically done. We're going to take a few heats on it to make sure everything is right around the same temperature, and then the last thing we have to do is break it off of the punty rod. So here in a moment, we're going to add a little bit of water to that connection point. We'll tap the pipe a few times and it should come right off. Once it's disconnected from the pipe, my brother's going to grab it in his Kevlar gloves and we'll move it into our annealing oven so that it can cool overnight, and tomorrow we'll be able to come back and take a look at what we got.
all right, ready? Got it. The bottom cracked, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny hole.
Yeah. Woo! Hey guys, so I've got the bowl right here. You know, it looks really cool. I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm actually kind of in love with it. I've been making lots of stuff with these like cool striations on them. And the green came out really cool, you know. The shape looks great too. We got one little problem. When we broke it off, there's a little hole. And I'm sorry about the sounds of the cars. I'm right next to a road and all these cars are always really loud. But so there's a hole in the bottom. And so you can't actually sell it. So we're gonna do something different today. I've got some succulents that I went and picked up at the store. A few different little succulents. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a little potted plant out of it. You know, it's got a hole in it so it can drain the water. And you know, I just wanted to put it to good use. And thought it'd be nice to come on here and talk to you guys and show you everything. This happens sometimes, you know, when the punty rod is connected to the bottom of the pipe, I connected the glass on too much. It was too big of an area and I didn't cool it down enough before I broke it off. It was also, the bottom was really thin, you know, so it was too thin. So that's one of the reasons it broke, one of the many reasons that it broke. But it happens, so I just kind of want to use it. I've got a bunch of other glass over here that I've used for potters when the same thing has happened. So, yeah, so we're just going to make a little potted plant out of this. Hope you guys enjoy.
And there we go. So, you know, it's like they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm really glad to have this and add it to my armada of pieces that this has happened to in the past. So unfortunately, we don't have a piece to sell this week, guys, but I think we still got something cool out of it. So thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you guys stay safe out there, and we'll catch you in the next video.